When winter hits, it doesn't send a polite warning. It kicks the door in, kills the heat, and leaves you scrambling. Once the power's out, the cold doesn't wait for an invitation. It seeps into every crack, every corner, draining your home of warmth, comfort, and control. Most people? They think they're ready. A couple of cheap blankets, a flashlight or two, maybe a generator that's barely holding a charge. Spoiler alert, that's not going to cut it when the temperature plummets and the grid goes dark. Here's the hard truth. Surface-level prep is a death sentence when the cold gets serious. Below freezing temps don't care about your store-bought solutions or your half-baked plans. That's why you need real strategies, DIY hacks that actually work. Not the same tired advice you've seen copy-pasted everywhere. We're talking about the kind of tactics preppers swear by to turn their homes into heat fortresses. No overpriced gadgets, no complicated setups, just practical, build-it-yourself solutions that keep you ahead of the cold. If you care about keeping your family warm, your pipes intact, and your home functional when winter turns brutal, this is the video you can't afford to skip. By the end, you'll have 9 cold weather hacks FEMA won't tell you, because by the time they show up, it's already too late. 1. Seal every crack and gap, your home's first line of defense. Cold doesn't need an open door to invade your home, it only needs a crack the size of a dime. And once it's in, it doesn't just make you uncomfortable. It drains your resources, your energy, and your ability to stay ahead of the freeze. That's why the first and most critical step in winter prep is sealing your home like your life depends on it, because in extreme cold, it just might. This isn't the glamorous part of prepping. It's not about fancy gadgets or high-tech solutions. It's about getting down to the basics and doing the work that most people skip. FEMA might mention insulation in passing, but they don't tell you how many places cold air is sneaking in. Windows, door frames, baseboards, attic hatches, dryer vents, electrical outlets, and even the tiny gaps around plumbing. Every one of these is a weak point. And in sub-zero temperatures, those weak points become full-blown vulnerabilities. The fix? It's simple, cheap, and effective, but only if you do it before the storm hits. Start with foam tape for your windows. It's easy to apply and creates an instant seal. For doors, use felt or rubber weather stripping to block drafts. Got bigger gaps? Expanding spray foam is your best friend. For smaller cracks around baseboards or pipes, a tube of caulk will do the trick. And if you're in a pinch, even rolled-up towels or pool noodles can act as temporary draft blockers. Think of your home as a boat in a storm. Every unsealed gap is a leak, and every leak lets the cold flood in. Professional preppers treat this step like plugging holes in a sinking ship because that's exactly what it is. The more airtight your home, the less your heaters have to work, the less fuel you burn, and the longer your backup systems last. This isn't just about comfort, it's about control. A single afternoon of sealing can buy you days of stable warmth. And when the power's out and the temperature's dropping, that stability can mean the difference between riding out the storm and scrambling to survive. Once your home is sealed tight, you've built a solid foundation. But the battle doesn't stop there. The next threat is lurking in your walls, under your sinks, and behind your cabinets. 2. Insulate and protect your pipes, the silent killer in the cold. Your home might be sealed tight, but there's one hidden danger that can take you out from the inside: exposed pipes. When temperatures drop, these unprotected lines are a ticking time bomb. They freeze, they expand, and then they burst, flooding your home and leaving you without water when you need it most. And here's the kicker: most people don't even think about their pipes until it's too late. A frozen pipe isn't just an inconvenience. It's a full-blown crisis. Lose your water and you lose your ability to cook, clean, hydrate, and flush. It's not just about comfort, it's about survival. That's why insulating your pipes isn't optional, it's essential. The good news? It's not hard and it doesn't have to be expensive. Foam pipe sleeves are the easiest and most effective solution. Just cut them to size, slide them over your pipes, and secure them with tape. For tricky spots like elbow joints or tight angles, use fiberglass wrap or flexible insulation. And if you're on a tight budget, even thick towels secured with zip ties can provide temporary protection. Focus on the high-risk areas first: pipes in basements, crawl spaces, garages, and undersinks. These are the spots where cold air tends to settle and linger. Don't forget about outdoor spigots. Shut them off and cover them with insulated caps. FEMA might tell you to let your faucets drip to prevent freezing, but that's a last-ditch effort. Insulation is prevention, and prevention is always better than damage control. For those who want to go the extra mile, heat tape is a game changer. Wrap it around your most vulnerable pipes, plug it in, and it'll keep them warm even in extreme cold. Some preppers also place portable lights under sinks to add a little extra heat during cold snaps. The goal here is simple: keep your water flowing. Because when your pipes freeze, your entire system grinds to a halt. And when you've spent time and energy prepping your home for winter, the last thing you want is an internal failure undoing all your hard work. With your pipes protected, it's time to turn your attention to the spaces you actually live in. 3. Master zone heating. Stop wasting heat on empty rooms. Once your home is sealed and your pipes are insulated, it's time to shift your focus from defense to efficiency. This is where most people screw up. They try to heat their entire house, even the rooms they're not using. In extreme cold, that's not just wasteful, it's downright stupid. Preppers know better. They don't try to fight the cold on every front. They shrink the battlefield. That's the essence of zone heating, concentrating your warmth where it matters most and cutting off the rest. Start by identifying the most critical areas of your home. This is usually a single bedroom, a main living space, or any room with backup heat or insulation. Once you've picked your zone, seal it off. Close every door, block every hallway, and shut down any area you're not actively using. For larger spaces, use thick blankets or heavy curtains to create barriers. Thermal insulation panels can be taped over door frames for an extra layer of protection. Even simple solutions like shower curtains or cardboard dividers can make a noticeable difference. The goal is to create a heat zone, a small, contained area that warms up quickly and holds heat longer. Why does this work? Because smaller spaces require less energy to heat. Whether you're using a propane heater, an electric blanket, or even just body heat, it all goes further when the space is tight and sealed. This isn't just about staying warm, it's about stretching your resources. Zone heating also protects your critical systems. If you're running on a backup battery or a generator, you don't want to waste that power heating a guest room or an empty hallway. Focus your energy where it counts, where you sleep, where you eat, and where you recover. And let's not underestimate the psychological impact. A warm, cozy space can do wonders for morale when everything outside feels hostile. It's a small win, but in a deep freeze, small wins add up fast. But even the best heat zone can be sabotaged if your windows are leaking warmth. That's why the next step is all about turning those glass panes into heat traps. Because no matter how well you seal your walls or insulate your pipes, if your windows are bleeding heat, you're still losing the battle. 4. Daylight heat, nighttime defense, mastering window management. Windows are the silent culprits of winter heat loss. They might look harmless, but untreated glass is like an open invitation for the cold to invade your home. If you're not managing your windows properly, you're losing the battle before it even begins. The key? Treat your windows like a tool. Use them to your advantage during the day and fortify them at night. During daylight hours, especially in south or west-facing rooms, your windows can act as natural heaters. Sunlight isn't just light, it's free, untapped energy. Open your curtains, pull up the blinds, and let that sunlight pour in. The heat it generates doesn't just warm the air. It soaks into your floors, walls, and furniture, turning them into heat reservoirs that release warmth long after the sun sets. Every degree you gain naturally is one less degree your heating system has to work for. But as soon as the sun dips, your windows become a liability. Glass is a terrible insulator, and untreated windows will suck the heat right out of your home. Thin curtains or blinds won't cut it. You need real barriers to stop the cold in its tracks. Thermal curtains or fleece-lined drapes are excellent options. But if you want to go hardcore, layer reflective survival blankets behind your curtains. Secure them tightly, no air gaps, no light leaks. For an extra layer of insulation, apply bubble wrap directly to the glass. It's not pretty, but it creates an air pocket that slows heat loss significantly. If you're in a pinch, even cardboard cutouts pressed into the window frame can make a noticeable difference. The goal is to create as many layers as possible between the cold outside and the warmth inside. This day-night window routine should become second nature. Open everything up in the morning to soak in the sun, then seal it all off as soon as dusk hits. It's simple, effective, and costs next to nothing. Optimizing your windows isn't just about saving energy. It's about keeping your home livable when the temperature outside is anything but. 5. Carbon monoxide safety and generator placement. Heat without hazard. Staying warm in winter is non-negotiable, but how you generate that heat can be the difference between survival and disaster. Every year, countless people end up in the hospital, or worse, because of carbon monoxide poisoning. It's invisible, odorless, and deadly, and it doesn't take much to turn your safe haven into a death trap. The first rule of winter prep? No combustion indoors without proper ventilation. That means no running generators, charcoal grills, or camp stoves inside your home, your garage, or even under a covered porch. Generators, in particular, area major risk. They must be placed outside, at least 20 feet away from any door, window, or vent. Cracking the garage door open while running a generator inside is not enough. It's a recipe for disaster. If you're using propane heaters or gas stoves, make sure they're specifically designed for indoor use and equipped with oxygen depletion sensors. Even then, you need to be cautious. Install carbon monoxide detectors on every level of your home, especially near sleeping areas. Battery-operated models are ideal since power outages are part of the problem you're preparing for. Test them monthly, replace the batteries regularly, and never assume you'll smell something if there's a problem. You won't. When running a generator, use a heavy-duty, outdoor-rated extension cord to bring power into your home. Seal off any entry points for the cord with foam or rags to prevent drafts. If possible, route the cord through a designated access point like a dryer vent with a weatherproof cover. Carbon monoxide safety isn't optional, it's a non-negotiable part of cold weather prep. The warmest room in your house becomes the most dangerous the moment CO enters the air. Once you've ensured your heating setup is safe, you can focus on making it durable. Because in a prolonged outage, you'll need systems that can stretch and last for days. 6. The ultimate cold weather backup kit. Be ready, not scrambling. When the power goes out and the temperature plummets, the last thing you want is to be digging through random drawers and closets looking for supplies. That's why every serious prepper has a cold weather backup kit, fully stocked, organized, and ready to go. This isn't about survival gimmicks or flashy gear. It's about having the essentials within arm's reach when you need them most. Your backup kit should live in your main heated zone, not in the garage or buried in storage. Use a waterproof tote or a durable bin to keep everything organized and protected. The goal is simple: easy access, no guesswork. Start with warmth. Pack extra thermal blankets, a Mylar bivy sack, hand warmers, and insulated clothing layers. These items can make the difference between a cold night and a dangerous one. Next, focus on lighting. Include LED lanterns, headlamps, and battery-powered motion lights. Always pack extra batteries, not just for your lights, but for your carbon monoxide detector, radio, and any other essential devices. Food and water are non-negotiable. Stock up on shelf-stable, high-calorie items like energy bars, peanut butter, nuts, and dried fruit. These are easy to eat and don't require cooking. Include a manual can opener and at least 1 gallon of water per person per day. Don't forget electrolyte powder. Dehydration can sneak up on you in cold conditions. For communication, include a battery-operated or hand-crank radio, an emergency whistle, and a backup phone charger. If you live in a multi-level home, two-way radios can help you coordinate without shouting. Finally, don't underestimate the power of comfort. The cold is stressful, and small morale boosters can go a long way. Pack a deck of cards, a book, or even some instant coffee or tea. These little touches can help keep spirits up when the situation feels bleak. This isn't a bug-out bag. It's a stay-in kit designed to keep you functional and comfortable when leaving the house isn't an option. Once your kit is in place, you're ready to tackle the next layer of winter prep, creating passive heat systems that work without burning fuel. Because in a prolonged outage, every ounce of efficiency counts. 7. Passive solar heating, harvesting free heat every day. Every winter day, free heat is pouring into your home, but most people don't know how to use it. Passive solar heating isn't some fancy architectural concept. It's a practical, no-power-required strategy that smart preppers use to warm their spaces without burning through fuel or draining batteries. The best part? It's simple, effective, and costs next to nothing. Here's how it works. Dark materials absorb heat, and clear materials let light in. When you combine the two, you create a heat trap that can raise the temperature of a room by several degrees. Start by identifying the windows in your home that get the most direct sunlight during the day. South-facing windows are usually the best, but west-facing ones can also work well in the afternoon. Once you've found your sunniest spots, put dark-colored objects in front of those windows. Think bricks, ceramic tiles, jugs of water, or even thick books. These items act as thermal mass, soaking up the sun's heat throughout the day and releasing it slowly into the air after sunset. Want to take it a step further? Build a simple passive solar heater. All you need is a black-painted board, a clear plastic cover, and a way to create airflow, like small gaps at the bottom and top. Place the heater at a low angle facing south. As the sun heats the black surface, cool air enters from the bottom, warms up inside the chamber, and rises out the top, creating a continuous flow of warm air. Even a DIY version made from cardboard, foil, and a plastic sheet can make a noticeable difference in room temperature. The goal isn't to heat your entire house. It's to stack a few extra degrees in the spaces that matter most. Those extra degrees can make a huge difference in comfort, reduce your reliance on fuel, and stretch your backup systems further. And when the sun sets, all that warmth needs to be locked in. That's where thermal mass comes into play, turning daytime heat into nighttime survival. 8. Thermal mass, storing heat for the long haul. When the sun goes down, your last source of natural warmth disappears. That's where thermal mass comes in. A no-fuel, no-power solution that stores heat during the day and releases it slowly through the night. Done right, it can turn a freezing room into a livable space without burning a single drop of energy. Thermal mass works on a simple principle. Dense materials like stone, ceramic, and water absorb heat slowly and release it gradually. You don't need expensive equipment, just basic materials and smart placement. Start with rocks. Lava rocks, bricks, or large ceramic tiles are all excellent options. Place them in direct sunlight during the day or near any heat source, like a passive solar heater or a space heater when it's running. Once they're hot, carefully move them into your insulated zone. Wrap them in thick towels or place them in metal containers to control the heat release and avoid burns. Water is another powerful thermal mass option. Fill dark-colored jugs or bottles with water and place them where they'll get the most sunlight. By evening, those jugs will radiate warmth for hours, helping to stabilize the room temperature and reduce the need for active heating. For maximum efficiency, combine both methods. Use stone mass to hold heat through the night and water mass to absorb and release heat during the day. This layered approach creates a low-maintenance, fuel-free buffer that keeps your living space from dropping into dangerous cold. The goal isn't to make your home toasty, it's to hold the line. Maintain just enough warmth to stay safe, sleep comfortably, and preserve your energy reserves. When paired with proper insulation and zone heating, thermal mass becomes a game changer, multiplying the effectiveness of your entire winter prep system. 9. The cold weather dry run. Testing your winter survival blueprint. Planning is one thing. Testing is another. In cold weather prep, untested systems are a hidden weakness that only reveal themselves when it's too late to fix. That's why every serious prepper runs a dry drill simulated outage where you test every layer of your winter system under real-world conditions. A dry run isn't complicated, but it's essential. Pick a night when temperatures are low but manageable. Turn off the lights, shut down your heat, and lock into your zone exactly as you would in a real emergency. This is your chance to find the flaws in your setup before they become life-threatening problems. Start with insulation. Walk the perimeter of your zone with a candle or lighter and check for drafts. If the flame flickers, you've got a leak. Inspect your windows, doors, and floor barriers. Are they fully sealed? Are your thermal curtains doing their job? Heat loss hides in the smallest gaps, and every degree matters. Next, test your systems. How long does your thermal mass hold heat? Are your hand warmers and heat packs performing as expected? Is your backup kit organized and within easy reach? Run your lighting setup. How long do the batteries last? Switch on your emergency radio. Can you get a clear signal indoors? Pay attention to how the room feels after a couple of hours. Is it cold? Stable? Comfortable enough to sleep in? These real-world answers are far more valuable than the specs printed on your gear's packaging. End the test by reviewing everything. What worked? What failed? What needs upgrading? Maybe your CO detector went off too early, or your food storage wasn't as accessible as you thought. Every insight you gain now is one less problem you'll face when the grid goes down for real. A dry run isn't just a test, it's a reality check. It forces you to confront the weaknesses in your plan and gives you the chance to fix them before they become critical. And once your system is tested, sealed, and ready, you'll have the confidence to face whatever winter throws your way. Winter doesn't wait for you to get ready. It hits hard and fast, and if you're not prepared, it can take everything from your comfort to your safety. These 9 DIY cold weather prep hacks aren't just tips. They're a complete system designed to keep you ahead of the freeze. From sealing every crack and insulating your pipes to mastering passive solar heat and running a full dry drill, each layer builds on the last to create a fortress of warmth, safety, and control. The truth is, most people won't think about these things until it's too late. They'll rely on flimsy blankets, overpriced gadgets, and hope that the power comes back before the cold wins. But you're not most people. You're here because you know that survival isn't about luck. It's about preparation. These hacks aren't complicated, expensive, or out of reach. They're practical, proven, and designed to work when everything else fails. By putting in the effort now, you're not just surviving winter, you're taking control of it. You're stretching your resources, protecting your home, and ensuring that no matter how cold it gets, you and your family stay safe, warm, and in control. So, don't wait for the first snowstorm to start scrambling. Start now. Seal your home, build your systems, and test your setup. Because when winter slams the door shut, you'll be ready. And that's the difference between freezing and thriving. Stay prepared, stay warm, and stay in control.